Bienvenue, hello, and welcome. I am here again. My name is Ottoline. I am here with another book from you from Europe. Whee! Yay, European books. So last time I spoke to you, we had a Russian book, and now we have a Czech book. Not a checkbook where you write the monies, but a checkbook, as in from Czech Republic. Oui, Czech Republic. And so if you know anything about writing, then there is a good chance you guess the writer. We are talking about Franz Kafka. But before we get to that, I will show you about our things if you wish to help with your writings. There is the templates like this, and there is the creative writings book like this, and there is linkies down below for this. So we have the Czech writer Kafka. So, and we are not talking about novels this time. I know the last time we did something very, very tiny. We did Thomas Mann and Death in Venice, where this is even shorter. This is even smaller than that. This one is the Metamorphosis. It is a short story that Kafka published in 1912. So it is probably his most famous, not probably about this. It is his most famous work. Everybody knows the Metamorphosis. It is très famous. If he did not write anything else and only wrote this story, he will still be famous. It is how famous it is. So Franz Kafka, he comes from Prague in 1883 he was born. So when Czech Republic was known as Bohemia and was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So the major cultural force of German culture is the Austro-Hungarian Empire at this time. Kafka comes from a Jewish family in Prague. They speak both German and Czech, but he is educated and writes in German. He had a law degree, and he worked by day. He was never a full-time writer. He was always a writer who had to work the day job. He never made enough money from his writing. Therefore, do not despair if you are somebody who does not make all the money from writing. You are still a serious writer. You can be. You do not have to make all your income from a writer to be considered a proper writer. Kafka is most certainly a proper writer, very much. He saw writing as the center of himself, the thing that he was. It was très important to him. So he would be very glad that nearly 100 years after he died in 1924. He was only 41 when he died. He will be very happy to know that his books are still read and appreciated, and that he is remembered nearly 100 years later. He wrote his books in German, so they are German language books, not Czech language. So his work was translated into Czech, into his native language. The Metamorphosis is his most famous work. He did have two other novels. That he had published posthumously. before he died, he taught his friend to burn the manuscripts. His friend did not wish to do this and actually got the books published. He felt that Franz, if Franz really truly wanted them burned, he would have done that himself, but he did not. His friend did not feel comfortable destroying the 3 novels that he had been working on. These are The Trial, The Castle, and one called America, which is less finished than the others. The novels were not exactly perfectly finished. They do read as novels, as they may not have been finished as in quite the polished quality that Kafka was intending. They do have a full narrative and a conclusion, and they are readable. They are not bitsy. Kafka, he also gives us his name gives us, and his writing gives us a whole idea. We talk about something being Kafkaesque. He talks in his novels of the absurdity of modern life, of the alienation of the individual in the massive bureaucracy, which is something that you really see in a work like The Trial, which I will probably bring to you at some point, but I haven't read it in a very long time, and I really will need to brush up on The Trial before I bring that to you. So we talk about something being Kafkaesque. A Kafkaesque experience is bureaucracy for the sake of bureaucracy. It is an endless, alienating situation. And that is his name has come to symbolize that, because that is what he talks about in his novels. So this is he has had a very big impact on the cultural understanding in the world, not just in his part of the world, but in the world as a whole. So that makes him very interesting. What we are talking about today is not a novel. What we are talking about is only a short story. We are talking about the Metamorphosis. So everybody knows this story. Everybody knows the story of Gregor Samson, who wakes up one morning and is a giant insect, a grotesque cockroach. Though it does not. Kafka does not actually say what kind of insect he is, but through reading, he is clearly insect with a flat white body and many legs. He is clearly a beetle-like. And has wings, so people have interpreted that this is a cockroach, especially since he has seen a sort incredibly disgusting. That is what this is. So, on one level, this novel is the story of a grotesque transformation of a young man into a bug. On one level. May I remember what I said about German things? If you read it only on one level, I am sorry, but you have missed the point. If it was just the story of a grotesque transformation, it would not have the impact that it has had for the past over 100 years. It would not have left the German-speaking world. It would have just been a little short story that's like, oh, look, it's a story about a man who turns into a bug. Oh, look, well, that there are plenty of stories like that and they all disappear. Why does this story, see, this story has gone around the world. Everybody knows the story of the Metamorphosis. It has been adapted in all sorts of different ways, possibly the most beautiful, moving adaptations that I have ever seen is from the Royal Opera House and the ballet that was made of this story. The male ballet dancer. It was created the role of Gregor Samson, and he is so physical and engaging to watch. It is astonishing what he can do with his body, and oh, you must see it. You must see it. And I am not even a ballet fan. I'm not particularly interested in ballet. And yes, this was absolutely hypnotic. Oh, beautiful. So, Gregor Samson. Gregor Samson is a young man. He is a traveling salesman, and he is supporting his mother and his father and his sister. And he is doing a job that he hates. He absolutely hates this job. His parents owe money to his boss. He has been given this job so that he can pay off some money that his parents owe him. And so he feels that he is trapped in this job. And then one morning he wakes up and he is a cockroach. He is not a man any longer. He is a cockroach, and everybody in his family, his boss, everybody is horrified and disgusted by him. They are terrified. His sister does put an effort into finding something to feed him, because he no longer eats what people eat. He is an insect. He is eating garbage. But as the family are forced to reckon with that they can no longer rely on Gregor, that Gregor is not going to become a man again, he is not going to be able to support them, that suddenly he needs the support, they grow very resentful of his state. They clear his room, they go out, they find jobs, they get, they learn to live without him, and they eventually grow to see him as a burden. The irony is that when he was a man and able to work, they was a parasite. They were parasites. They did not work. They did not have life. They relied entirely on him, and they were his burden, and he did not ever complain. Although he did not like it, he still did what he did. He could have said, you know what, your debt is your debt. It is not my debt. I want to go out. I want to have a life. I'm going to get a new job. I'm going to get a wife. I am going to have family of my own, and screw you all. He never once says that, but in effect, when he is a burden, he is seen as nothing but a parasite, nothing but a disgusting creature to be hidden and got rid of. And so in this way, I always read the Metamorphosis as a metaphor I read it as a metaphor for illness, as a metaphor for any identity that is easily hidden, but which one knows that if one reveals oneself, one will be persecuted, and so keeps hidden. And it is a metaphor for for queer identity, for being gay, being lesbian, being trans. It works on that level. It works especially for illness. I am old enough to remember when the AIDS epidemic was starting in the 1980s, and so people treated people who were ill as unclean, untouchable. They were terrified of them, and this story has resonance with that, and this is why this story has existed for over 100 years and is still relevant. There are always groups that we see who we try to reject. There are always groups. It doesn't matter. The groups may change over time, but they are there. They are there, and a story like this expects us to confront. Well, how would you, if you were suddenly confronted with this coming into your life? Chronic illness can come into life. Disability can come into your life. I think that illness is a particularly I think it makes a very strong case for illness in terms of the metaphor. Myself, for my reading, you may find a different reading, and as we know, the author is dead. As Roland Barthes would tell you, the author is dead, and therefore you are free to interpret as you like. Literature is one place where, if I do my research, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to hurt anybody. It's just my own headcanon about the book. That is the beauty of literature. I cannot hurt someone with it. Well, okay, Ayn Rand, but yeah. I like to think of this book as a metaphor for illness, and illness especially because illness can touch anybody. And when you read this book, it makes you, it's not even a book, when you read the story, it makes you confront, well, how would I react? How would I respond to something like this in my life? And so therefore it is always pertinent and relevant story. So I will see you again next time. I hope that you enjoy this. I will see you and bring you another book another time. So, au revoir. If you would like to support this channel, come across to the Black Cockie Press website, www.blackcockiepress.com.au, where you will find books and other writing services to help with your writing.